Hello, my dear grade 8 students again, and we are going to finish our science fiction story, Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. July 10th. My landlady, Mrs. Flynn, is very worried about me. She said she doesn't like loafers. If I'm sick, that's one thing, but if I'm a loafer, that's another thing, and she won't have it. I told her I think I'm sick. I try to read a little bit every day. Mostly stories, but sometimes I have to read the same thing over and over again because I don't know what it means. And it's hard to write. I know I should look up all the words in dictionary, but it's so hard and I'm so tired all the time. Then I got the idea that I would only use the easy words instead of the long hard ones. That saves time. I put flowers in Algernon's grave about once a week. Mrs. Flynn thinks I'm crazy to put flowers in a mouse grave, but I told her that Algernon was special. July 14th. It's Sunday again. I don't have anything to do to keep me busy now because my television set is broke and I don't have any money to get it fixed. I think I lost this month's check from the lab. I don't remember. I get awful headaches and aspirin doesn't help me much. Mrs. Flynn knows I'm really sick and she feels very sorry for me. She's a wonderful woman whenever someone is sick. July 22nd. Mrs. Flynn called a strange doctor to see me. She was afraid I was going to die. I told the doctor I wasn't too sick and that I only forgot sometimes. He asked me did I have any friends or relatives, and I said no, I don't have any. I told him I had a friend called Algernon once, but he was a mouse, and we used to run races together. He looked at me kind of funny, like he thought I was crazy. He smiled when I told him I used to be a genius. He talked to me like I was a baby, and he winked to Mrs. Flynn. I got mad and chased him out because he was making fun of me, the way they all used to. July 24th. I have no more money, and Mrs. Flynn says I got to go to work somewhere and pay the rent because I haven't paid for over 2 months. I don't know any work but the job I used to have at Dunnigan's Plastic Box Company. I don't want to go back there because they all knew me when I was smart, and maybe they'll laugh at me. But I don't know what else to do to get money. July 25th. I was looking at some of my old progress reports and it's very funny, but I can't read what I wrote. I can make out some of the words, but they don't make sense. Miss Keening came to the door, but I said, "Go away. I don't want to see you." She cried and I cried too, but I wouldn't let her in because I didn't want her to laugh at me. I told her I didn't like her anymore. I told her I didn't want to be smart anymore. That's not true. I still love her. And I still want to be smart, but I had to say that so she'd go away. She gave Mrs. Flynn money to pay the rent. I don't want that. I got to get a job. Please, please, let me not forget how to read and write. July 27th. Mr. Dunnigan was very nice when I came back and asked him for my old job of janitor. First, he was very suspicious, but I told him what happened to me. He looked very sad and put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Charlie Gordon, you got guts." Everybody looked at me when I came downstairs and started working in the toilet, sweeping it out like I used to. I told myself, Charlie, if they make fun of you, don't get sore because you remember they're not so smart as you once thought they were. And besides, they were once your friends. And if they laughed at you, that doesn't mean anything because they liked you too. One of the new men who came to work there after I went away made a nasty crack. He said, Hey Charlie, I hear you're a very smart for a real quiz. Say something intelligent. I felt bad, but Joe Carp came over and grabbed him by the shirt and said, Leave him alone or I'll break your neck. I didn't expect Joe to take my part, so I guess he's really my friend. Later, Frank Riley came over and said, Charlie, if anybody bothers you or tries to take advantage, you call me or Joe and we will set him straight. I said, Thanks, Frank, and I got tucked up. So I had to turn around and go into the supply room so he wouldn't see me cry. It's good to have friends. And now the close read activity on page 377, which is about paragraph 219. Um, Before we do it, we know that Charlie's deterioration continues, and the author is giving the reader more evidences about this. Uh, Now we are supposed to highlight the conclusion that Charlie reaches about Joe Carp. We can see at the very last sentence of paragraph 219 when Charlie says, I guess he's really my friend. Of course, he's talking about Joe Carp, who works in the same factory that Charlie works in. Um, Here, the situation not really as simple as Charlie describes, because we can say that Charlie seems to be able only to make generalization about people, such as deciding who is and who is not his friend. He doesn't grasp that Joe Carp might not actually be his friend. He may only pity Charlie, that he feels pity for Charlie, and he is not a real friend or a good friend. And we can conclude here that the author allows the reader to infer that Charlie's intelligence is indeed very simple and not, of course, nearly as sophisticated as before. We mean before, after the operation, but before this deterioration. July 28th. I did a dumb thing today. I forgot I wasn't in Miss Kenyon's class at the Adult Center anymore, like I used to be. I went in and sat down in my old seat in the back of the room, and she looked at me funny, and she said, Charles. I didn't remember she ever called me that before, only Charlie. So I said, Hello, Miss Kenyon. I'm ready for my lesson today. Only I lost my reader that we was using. She started to cry and ran out of the room, and everybody looked at me, and I saw they wasn't the same people who used to be in my class. Then all of a sudden I remembered some things about the operation and me getting smart. And I said, Holy smoke, I really pulled a Charlie Gordon that time. I went away before she come back to the room. That's why I'm going away from New York for good. I don't want to do nothing like that again. I don't want Miss Kenyon to feel sorry for me. Everybody feels sorry at the factory, and I don't want that either. So I'm going someplace where nobody knows that Charlie Gordon was once a genius, and now he can't even read a book or write good. I'm taking a couple of books along, and even if I can't read them, I'll practice hard, and maybe I won't forget everything I learned. If I try real hard, maybe I'll be a little bit smarter than I was before the operation. I got my rabbit's foot and my lucky penny, and maybe they will help me. If you ever read this Miskinian, don't be sorry for me. I'm glad I got a second chance to be smart, because I learned a lot of things that I never even knew were in this world, and I'm grateful that I saw it all for a little bit. I don't know why I'm dumb again, or what I did wrong. Maybe it's because I didn't try hard enough. But if I try and practice very hard, maybe I'll get a little smarter and know what all the words are. I remember a little bit how nice I had a feeling with the blue book that has the turn cover when I write. That's why I'm gonna keep trying to get smart, so I can have that feeling again. It's a good feeling to know things and be smart. I wish I had it right now. If I did, I would sit down and read all the time. Anyway, I bet I'm the first dumb person in the world who ever found out something important for science. I remember I did something, but I don't remember what. So I guess it's like I did it for all the dumb people like me. Goodbye, Miss Kenyon and Dr. Strauss and everybody. And P.S. Please tell Dr. Nimmer not to be such a grouch when people laugh at him, and he would have more friends. It's easy to make friends if you let people laugh at you. I'm going to have lots of friends where I go. P.P.S. Please, if you get a chance, put some flowers on Algernon's grave in the backyard. And now, dear students, after we've finished our science fiction short story, Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes, we're going to do the comprehension check. First question, who is Algernon and why is he important? We know that, of course, Algernon is a lab mouse. Why is he important? You can say because Dr. Strauss and Dr. Nimmer experimented with surgery on Algernon before performing the similar operation or the same operation on Charlie. Number two, what is the goal of the operation Dr. Strauss performs on Charlie? We know that the goal, um, they wanted to triple Charlie's IQ, making him much more intelligent. And this is what really happened. And number three, what are three ways the operation changes Charlie's life? Yeah, Charlie becomes able to learn many new subjects, including spelling, punctuation, foreign languages, and advanced math. Charlie becomes more aware of his emotions and actions of people around him. Um, from his teacher to his co-worker, Charlie becomes a talented researcher. He realizes and explains why the effects of his operation cannot last. And if you remember, he expected what happened to him to happen even before it happens. And after Algernon's death, the dissection shows that all Charlie's predictions were right. And number four, what happens to Algernon in May and June? When you go back to the story, we can know that Algernon becomes hostile, which is aggressive, and his brain deteriorates. Finally, Algernon dies. Question number five. What happens to Charlie at the end of the story? We can say that Charlie lost his extra intelligence that he gained after the operation. Number six, write a summary of Flowers for Algernon. We can say that this short story uh, told from the perspective of a man named Charlie. Charlie has a disability that affects his intelligence, and he has an operation intended to make him smarter, or we can say to triple his IQ. He spends time playing with an unusually smart, rapid mouse called Algernon, who had the same operation Charlie did. Charlie's new intelligence brings him um, rewards, but it also damages his relationships with people as he equals and then exceeds their abilities. And the change didn't last, and Charlie started deteriorating again, and he became um, the same as he was before the operation.